Good afternoon and welcome to Newsworthy Stories, connecting those who serve the community with those who can reach them. I'm Jacqueline Jimenez. If you joined us last week, you know I am the author of How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think. What I do is teach people how to identify news stories where they live, work, volunteer, and worship, then help them get local or national news coverage, as well as produce news stories for social media. I've been sharing how people have been using my stories and other services to generate new business. Joining me now is cybersecurity expert Michael Goldstein of Land Infotech. He and his team were instrumental in stabilizing literally thousands of people when the pandemic struck and sustaining them today. We'll get to how he did that in a minute, but first I want to talk about how vulnerable companies are now that many or all of their employees are working from home. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
So, Michael, what have you seen and what concerns you the most?
We see the current cybersecurity arena as bad as the pandemic. It has been unbelievably high over the past just 9 months of this year. In May, we looked at the numbers, and there were more cybersecurity incidents in the first 5 months of 2021 than there were through 2020, and quadrupled that in 2019. So bad guys do not take the day off. They do not care that we are in a pandemic. They don't care that a disaster comes out. They look for opportunity.
And looking at Louisiana, and being here in South Florida, you just ask yourself, how could they protect themselves from cybersecurity, but more so, how can they even do business when so many people don't have electricity?
It's a terrible piece to look at. I think that when you look at Louisiana and then you work your way all the way up the East Coast, Louisiana prepared. Louisiana, like Florida, companies prepared to go out and evacuate, have different types of plans that are out there, data centers, generators. But we had some warning. I look further in what happened in the Northeast more than I looked at Louisiana, only because that they didn't expect to have that much flood. They had Hurricane Sandy years ago prepared,
Yeah.
and immediately Louisiana and the surrounding states definitely had some time to prepare. It's terrible. You go out there, you have to figure out how you do business, and if you're in a multi-state business that's there, you have people in other parts of the country waiting for your services.
So what kind of action can companies take now so that it doesn't happen to them, even if it does happen?
You have to have a plan, and you have to be able to execute that plan. Each year we work on, we try to take each quarter of the year to have different types of prep. Of course, the second quarter, we always call it, just storm preparedness. And in reality, you have to re-review last year's plan. We learn from it every month, every week, every day. And having a plan gives you at least a semblance of a way of getting back to business, communicating with your clients, because a lot of times it's the communication to your employees as well as your clients.
Just as a reference, Michael, so people understand, Land Infotech is known in its industry as a leader. Can you tell us about some of the awards you've received lately? I mean, you're off the charts right now.
It's been really great for us. Well, we start off with the local awards, and we work with some of the business reviews, and best in class for software, best in class for cloud hosting, best in class for security. Nationally, on some of the awards, we're one of the top 100 fastest growing companies according to CRN News. Channel Futures, we were one of the top 500 managed service providers. Then they took that 500 service providers and we're in the top 100 of fastest growing. So it's...
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that at all, just because you're more than a company, you're more than a cybersecurity company, and we're going to learn a little bit more about that right now. As I mentioned, Michael and his team at Land Infotech became the MVP, most valuable partner, when the pandemic struck, and here's why. Michael Goldstein of Land Infotech in Fort Lauderdale is not new to doing good, but this avid sports fan has been stepping up his game during COVID and is quickly becoming an MVP, the most valuable partner in helping businesses and nonprofits pivot during this pandemic.
Just like my clients, we had the same fear. How am I going to pay my bills? Are people going to pay me? I think the first time, the first month, I remember it was probably mid-April when I actually started seeing checks come in. I had some faith that we'd all survive, financially, of course. But we really wanted to give back. We were flooded with our hundreds and hundreds of clients figuring out how they can continue working.
At the heart of the problem, business owners, organizations, and their employees all working from home on devices not suited to handle security standards.
Our biggest challenge in the past year really has been cybersecurity. Breaches, ransomware, viruses. We controlled that environment when they were in the office. Now, on the example fourth grade computer, I can't control everything that's out there. Clients are reluctant to put security software on there. They don't want to restrict the learning, and it's just not their computer. We ended up calling it the ghost office experience, where many people didn't have equipment at home, but they had equipment in the office. So we set up remote access for them. So they were taking their home computers to take over their office computers.
Michael quickly had his team certified in Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and other networking platforms to give struggling companies the help they needed.
We just started writing down our tips and tricks. One of our 5th or 6th webinar is things that we've learned in the 5 or 6 that we did before so that other organizations can get this out successfully. The Bar Association was probably our biggest start. At the bar, it's the Broward Bar Association, they started expanding, and one of our second or third events, we had over 500 people with bar associations all across the state.
The whole legal world, not only in Broward, but in the state, came to a halt. You have to understand that the legal community is very reserved and conservative, and the idea of this virtual world of conducting business online sounded absolutely ridiculous at the time. Since we were able to pivot so quickly and start to bring education in all aspects of the practice of law for all types of practitioners, we buoyed all of these attorneys across the state. I would say we did over 150 plus webinars in the calendar year, starting from that second week of March to the end of December. And we serviced over 11,000 attorneys in the state of Florida. That's a lot of people online. And that's because of what I learned working with Michael.
For multiple chambers of commerce, Michael Goldstein and Land Infotech were the go-to crew for guarding the city's software.
We're a membership organization, and without having our members connected, that would have been a fiasco. And so for us to be so proactive in a short period of time to within hours turn this organization around so that we could adapt to the new world of digital platforms was just incredible. We were able to continue all of our events, all of our networking and our education and training, and as fast and furious as the information was coming, even from the government side. Land Infotech has provided all this information and hands-on approach. His entire team is involved with all of our programs with no cost, no fee at all. And that has been essential because I can't imagine what that would have cost us in a pandemic. Eventually, what will happen is he will get paid moving forward because everyone sees the value in what he's brought to the table. We're just very lucky and fortunate to have Land Infotech as a wonderful partner.
Raylan Barlow of the National Leadership Institute is a board member matchmaker. She has looked to Land Infotech for years. When the pandemic struck, she knew exactly who to call.
Our team at National Leadership Institute has been a LAN fan, if you want to call it that, a LAN Infotech fan for many years. And then when COVID came along, they were the folks that we really turned to when we had questions, we needed answers, how to pivot virtually in a COVID world. And they stepped up to the plate. They've offered free LinkedIn trainings to nonprofits. They've offered Microsoft Teams training. They've come in and presented to our nonprofit groups, to our audience, on everything from cybersecurity to tech tools that are new and different. And then they gave us the gift program, the grant database that they provided for several years now, and offered their staff to help nonprofits search for grants. One thing that's been huge for us since COVID is National Leadership Institute now offers a technology tool called Board Match Now. And the folks at LAN Infotech have been so supportive of it. They know, like we know, that nonprofits don't often use technology as much as they should or could. So they've been behind us all the way in Board Match Now, helping us develop the product so that we can bring it to the South Florida community and use it as a true community connector.
The Gilda's Club South Florida also benefiting from LAN Infotech with not only cybersecurity, but their signature events.
Michael realized very quickly that a lot of the small businesses were struggling. On the fly, we had to not only figure out how we were going to provide our services to people who needed them. At Gilda's Club, there was no option of closing our doors and not providing services. And so everything that we did in person on the first day of March, by the 15th of March, we were doing online. Gilda's Club South Florida was named in honor of Gilda Radner, one of the original 7 cast members of Saturday Night Live, who died very young of ovarian cancer. And her dream was that one day there would be a community of support. And after her death, her husband, Gene Wilder, created that community. And that's what Gilda's Club South Florida is. And we provide support to cancer patients. We're a nonprofit, so many people step up to help us and volunteer without payment. But Michael was in a business that people were drawn through in the pandemic because they needed technical support and they needed technical tools. And I really appreciate the fact, and it speaks a lot of Michael's character, that he was willing to help a nonprofit succeed without asking for anything in return. We raised approximately $140,000. It was our 25th anniversary event, and we wanted nothing more than to do this event in person and see people who have supported us for 25 years. And we just couldn't do that safely. And we relied on LAN Infotech to provide the technical support to help pull this off. And it was significant support that was needed for the platform that we used. It was very sophisticated, and we couldn't have done it alone.
I really feel that, you gotta give back, and this is how we can give back.
Now that Michael Goldstein has successfully helped thousands work from home, he's laser focused on the next challenge.
Now that people were at home, how do we bring them back? Whether you hadn't touched your computer for months, which just causes problems that are out there. Now maybe you had a new computer, maybe you walked and bought a retail computer. It was in the home environment, and now how do we get it back to the office? So you have to really rethink your business continuity plan and look at cyber. If you're using something 7 or 8 years old, we can't get support on it, we can't get parts on it, and as we're saying, sometimes there's a delay on getting product. So think about your strategy, evaluate what you have, and more importantly, think about talking to your employees about some cyber awareness training, because they're your key. You lose your key, you want to go out there and replace the locks, but in this place, we're only as good as that weakest link on the chain. And right now, employees are that weakest link in the chain cyber-wise. As technology changes, as we've seen during the pandemic, companies like Microsoft and Zoom and Dell and Lenovo have been putting rapid fire of changes out there. And even more today, that we have to keep ourselves up with technology. We want to be your technology partner. We want to understand your business. We're not there just to sign that contract every year.
There you go. That's why you're the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing companies in the nation. Your impact in the community is amazing. What was that like?
We didn't have time to bask in the glory. We went from customer to customer, prospect to prospect, not-for-profit to not-for-profit. We're just really trying to help everyone out. Once the word got out, we really had a line of people that were looking for help. Every day, there's a new customer that comes out, a new challenge, a new piece of software. This month's challenge, and it's probably going to go on for the rest of the year, is really supply chain shortages. We're telling our customers today, if you're looking to buy one computer or laptop, buy two. Some of our delays are 45 to 50 days out. Those are business days. So now we're talking, a long period of time, especially if you're down. So it's an amazing, ever-changing environment, and I know it's not just technology.
So Michael, tell them, I know, but can you give people an idea of how you've been using this story to your benefit on social media and promos and whatnot?
It's better than having a website or a business card. We use it as intros to all different events. We use it to our vendors because we represent various manufacturers, and now we're showing them what we're doing to the community. And it's not just coming from my mouth; it's coming from the hard work of Jacqueline, of course, and as well as our customers. And in some of the pieces, they're not even customers; they're people that we've just wanted to help. And we don't do this just for clients. We want to help everyone in the community.
And the reason why I laugh, because no matter what, when the media does a story about your business, it automatically gives your business or organization credibility. And it's just, the media is another form of word of mouth, which is why I'm constantly trying to tell people to take advantage in any way that you can. Any media. It's not just television. It's radio, it's social media, it's digital media, all the above. When someone else does a story about you, it's that whole word of mouth. It's the same response and the same impact. When we come back, what started out as a service to help organizations with virtual platforms, now turning into profit, Michael's going to tell us all about that. Stay with us. We're talking with cybersecurity expert Michael Goldstein of LAN Infotech, whose company has been turning virtual fundraising platforms into profit. Michael, tell us, how is this happening?
We've always done the quote webinar for the longest time. Prior to the pandemic, we started doing it live in a studio so that we could broadcast. And as the pandemic hit, everybody jumped to platforms. And after a while, people realized, well, it was easy to use Zoom for family functions. It was easy to use Zoom to talk to people. But now that when people are trying to communicate with their clients, they realized that it was very difficult to go out, and they really needed somebody to manage it. Just like we're sitting here today to have the run of show, that was new to a lot of people. So we realized that, hey, we've been putting on professional events in person. Why not take this to a virtual platform? We started out with Zoom. We had Zoom, we had GoToMeeting, we had Microsoft Teams. But as that got to a peak, we realized that we needed something different. And we started experimenting with different platforms. We came up with a unique solution by a company called Remo that gave you this virtual experience of like walking into a room, being seated at a table. Because the problem with the other platforms is if you're not in a webinar format, a one-to-many, we've all had it. You talk over people in Zoom, you can't control people. People are muting themselves, unmuting themselves. In the new virtual platform, you're sitting at a table with 5 other people virtually. You're chatting with them. When you were going out to do the main presentation, everyone's silenced. So we realized that there was a big need for this. And some of our clients just couldn't fundraise and just have a regular Zoom.
I recently had a chance to interview one of your clients, Nikki Austin Shipp of South Florida's Institute on Aging, and this is what she had to say about LAN Infotech's help. Cybersecurity experts LAN Infotech turning virtual platforms into profit.
LAN Infotech has been absolutely incredible. They rescued me week 2 of me serving as CEO in my very first year. Came in and saved the day like Superman.
The South Florida Institute on Aging knew when they decided to bring on nationally known speakers for their virtual fundraising symposiums, they were going to need an experienced team who could provide a platform that was sleek, interactive, and highlighted its sponsors. With the help of Land Infotech, it paid off.
We were able to raise $67,000. That is a huge increase, an enormous increase, especially being amidst a pandemic and only 8 months later. When you have someone of that caliber who's on your stage, you only want to present the best, and I knew Land Infotech would provide that.
Also, you will see all of our sponsors here have banners on the sides of the floor plan. If you click on it, it will take you to their website. You will also notice our sponsors have specific areas. We'll call them a virtual booth. You can visit them when we're not presenting. Our big sponsor here is ARP, so they are obviously get the banner right here in the middle.
We were able to garner dollars from some great large companies who otherwise we would not have had access to. Land Infotech, by providing us with the platform of Remo, was able to demonstrate to those sponsors. And so we are looking to even double that amount for next year. But thank goodness for technology. What would we have done for over a year and a half, and we are still in this place a lot presently, what would we have done if we did not have technology?
For more information on cybersecurity or virtual fundraising platforms, log on to www.landinfotech.com. Wow, that is some testimony, Michael. I thank you for joining us today and sharing your wisdom on cybersecurity and virtual fundraising platforms. If you want to learn more about Land Infotech, log on to their website at www.landinfotech.com. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been great, and we are really out there trying to help everybody in the community. And thank you for all your help in promoting us and giving us an opportunity today.
Well, I look forward to work with you in the future as well. Thank you. We'll be right back.